ॐ सहनाववतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीं अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to all who are all attending this class through this medium. Last Sunday we completed this chapter, third chapter, which is known as Karma Yoga of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. These two chapters, second chapter and third chapter, as we can see, they are the most important, because the most fundamental philosophy of the Gita, the very fundamental teaching of Bhagwan Shri Krishna, has been laid down there, its theory and its application. So we see that Sankhya Yoga, that is Jnana Yoga, then Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga. The application of karma, which is based on this fundamental premise of Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. So third chapter ends there at Evam Buddhe Param Buddhva. So by knowing which is transcending Buddhi, what to do that? So knowing here does not mean that ultimate realization which is obtained through samadhi. It is not that knowledge. It does not mean that. Otherwise, if that knowledge would have come, if samadhi stage would have been reached, what would have happened? The following of these words, they would not come into play. What does he say? Therefore, the meaning of this word knowing is knowing intellectually, understanding, assimilating, something more than that. Not just dry knowledge, but the knowledge which after assimilating, which after understanding, become a part and parcel of the person. A conviction is reached and it becomes workable instrument. It becomes a workable instrument. A will is formed. So simply knowledge is there and it is not translated into action. So what? That is just information. It is not understanding. It is not motivating that person. No, it is not being said that. So Bhagwan is saying here, Evam Buddhe Param Buddhva, knowing which is transcending Buddhi, Param Buddhva. What to do? Knowing what? Then he says, Sanstabhya Atmana Atmana. Atmanam Atmana. So Sanstabhya, control yourself by yourself. So making your buddhi or your mind as instrument and control your senses. making your intellect as an instrument control your mind. Sanstabhya atmanam atmana. So this is, so we were discussing in the last class. So how is this possible? If you are attached, if you are one with your mind or intellect, and you cannot form a dissociation, how that dissociation, that non-attachment can be formed? That if you tell yourself, if you are convinced that you are not mind, you are not intellect, but you are that principle which is transcending both these, mind and intellect. You are the consciousness. So if you have reached that conviction, which is absolutely, which cannot be only mental, it cannot be only information, it is something more than that. That's why it is called as dharana. Through dharana it comes. It is just not listening, that you can feel a connect to that truth, and then only it can become will, it can become operational, it can become workable. And then when you have reached such a state of mind, then with such a state of mind you can control what? Atmanam atmana. By yourself, you can control yourself. So this was the final verse of the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So we see that Karma Yoga has very much that foundation, that principle which is said in the Sankhya Yoga, interspersed through it. Karma is not separate, only action without having this foundation, then it cannot become Karma Yoga. Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga, the knowledge which we gain from the Shrutis, Upanishads, from the great souls, from their word of mouth, this forms this basis of Karma Yoga. And then following this Karma Yoga, one can reach the same goal as where Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yogi will reach. So we see that in second and third chapter, there is a pure Jnana Yoga and there is Jnana Karma Sanyoga also. Karma which is based on Jnana. Now in this fourth chapter, what we will see, some important principles, some very popular verses like Yada Yadai Dharmasya, they come in this fourth chapter. So we see here the seeds of Bhakti Yoga are laid here. Then Bhakti Karma and Jnana Karma Sayoga also we will see in this fourth chapter. Reincarnation or Avataratva, this is a cornerstone of Hinduism. Cornerstone of Hinduism. Swami Vivekananda ji said this in his lectures, that the Tattva which is known from the Shrutis, that is Atma Tattva, the true reality of the soul and of this world, that is Sat Chit Ananda Brahma, that is Atma. This is the first thing. That is, it is unborn, it is Avinashi. That is the first cornerstone of our Hindu Dharma, without which Hindu Dharma cannot be imagined. So that is unborn. Then who is being born? And what we see, this is which is born and which dies, that is apparent reality, Vyavaharik Tattva, which is bit temporary, which is constant subject to change. Whereas the first principle which is being told, that is not subject to change, that is changeless. So upon this changeless, this as if changeful apparent illusion is projected. So this is Vyavaharik Satya, that is Paramarthik Satya. Param Artha, Paramarthik, Paramarthik Satya, that is Atma Tattva. Jagat, Jeev, and this samsara, this is Vyavaharik Satya. So Avataratva, now in second chapter, Bhagwan had in the 12th verse, he had clearly given indication of this. So it is not like that he is saying this first time. In the 12th verse, what does he say? Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipaha na chaivanam bhavishyamah sarve vayamatah param na tu evaham na tu eva aham jatu na asam na tvam na ime janadhipaha. That it is not that I have never existed, nor thou, that nor you, nor these kings, nor is it that we shall cease to exist in the future. It means that we have always been there. It means that in one form or other. So it is not that we are existing now, we were not existing in the past, and we will cease to exist in future. It is not like that. So, furthering these ideas, we will see in first when Bhagwan speaks from 5th verse onwards, we will see these ideas coming in. So we begin here with this 4th chapter, Chaturthodhyayah, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Sri Bhagavan is saying, Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manu Ikshvakave Abravit. Imam Yogam, this yoga, which has been said hitherto in this 2nd and 3rd chapter. Proktavan, I had said, Aham, I said, Avyayam, which is imperishable. Because of its nature, because of the nature of the central truth of this yoga, which is imperishable. Because Atman is not born, it does not die, it is infinite, Ananta. Because it is non-dual, there does not exist any duality, so there is no change. So that's why it is Avyayam, imperishable. Vivasvan, so I said, Imam Vivasvate Proktavan Aham. Vivasvan, Vivasvate is another name of sun, Surya, Aditya. To him I had said this. Then that Vivasvan, that Surya, had said this to Manu, and Manu in turn had proclaimed, Abravit, had said this yoga, had told this yoga to Ikshvaku, one of the earliest of the kings. Ikshvaku, he is the same king in whose clan Sri Ramachandra was born, Ikshvaku. So this is what Bhagwan said, that saying that I am not saying to you or teaching you something out of the blue. He said this is as old as it can be. It is as old as time. I have been saying this. I have said this. These things, these teachings, I have taught these teachings to the sun itself, and from sun how it handed over down to the generations. So as this principle is undying, so is this yoga. So it has been ever existent. What does he say next? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduh sa kalena iha mahataha yogo nashtah parantapa. Thus handed down in regular succession, The royal sages knew it, the king sages. The sages who were like Ikshvaku, he was king as well as a sage. They had Brahmajnana as well as they had that prowess to rule the kingdom. They were exceptional individual. We generally see when we have somebody is excelling in spirituality, he does not have the worldly prowess, and the person who has worldly prowess, he has to sacrifice on spiritual goals. But they were exceptional people, like we have heard the name of Janaka, Rajarshi. He is Raja as well as a Rishi. Rishi is the knower of the truth, who has the direct perception of the truth. He is not, his knowledge is not obtained through only books or by hearing to others. He had got the first hand experience of the truth through Samadhi. He is Rishi as well as he is a king, Rajarshi. So, Vidu, they knew this Rajarshayo. How? The Parampara Praptam, through the succession. Para Aparam, Param Apara. So, the earlier person is saying to the, this handing it down to the next person. Parampara Praptam, Imam. Imam what? Imam Yogam. Rajarshayo Viduhu. They knew this through this, the line of succession. But that yoga, what happened? Kalena iha mahata kalena. Due to a long time, distortion happened. Nashtaha parantapa. So that got lost. Shankaracharya says that falling that yoga, that teaching in the hands of weak and ineligible people, it was lost. It could not be, because it can be taught to some person, it can be handed over to that person, but that person should be eligible so that he can sustain it and hand it down to the next generation. He must be adhikari. So Shishya has to be adhikari to gain it from the Guru. So in this way, slowly, that gradual degradation, so slowly it was lost over the long period of time. So this is the second verse. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sa kale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. The scorcher of the foes. Para is the Shatru here, and the one who gives them tapa is the Parantapa. Then the third verse says, so evayam maya tedya. Adya, just now what I have told to you. It is the same yoga. Sa eva ayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratana. That puratana, that ancient yoga, I have said to you, because you are bhakto si me sakha cheti, because you are my devotee and you are my sakha, friend. That's why I am saying this to you. This is rahasyam. He indeed uttamam. He etad uttamam. This is the best of the secrets. He is saying rahasyam. The secret, key to the rightful living, the key to the dharma. This is the secret of the dharma. He himself stands the epitome of it, the example of it, because he is not moved like Arjuna. He had no less comprehension of the issues, what is at the stake, what is the fallout of the war. But he is not moved, he is not carried over by the emotions. Even his own people, his own relative, they are all there. They were all there present on the battlefield. But Krishna is not moved, swayed by the emotions like Arjuna. And he is completely calm and composed. So naturally Krishna is very well established in the yoga. Rest other are either agitated by the impending war, some may be nervous, and various other thoughts are going traversing through their mind. But Krishna is fully collected, composed, and poised in the self. So, what is the secret? He said, this yoga is the secret. This is the secret of work, how to live in the world, how to be present in the situation like a war and still be fully collected, fully composed, fully controlling yourself, not moved by the situation. So, this is the secret indeed, the best of the secrets. This is what he is teaching, that Atma Tattva and Karma Yoga based on it. Karma Yoga is what is, it is his approach to the action, the karma, the duty. So, Bhagwan is saying, I have this day told you that same ancient yoga, for you are my devotee and my friend, and this secret is profound indeed. It is the best of the secrets. So, this is the third verse. In the fourth verse, Arjuna is saying, Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvatah katham etad vijaniyam tvamado proktavan iti. That bhavatah, your janma, aparam, that it is of the later date, because you are not so much older than me. So, aparam bhavato janma, param janma vivasvatah, but the sun, it is very, very old. It is not created today. So, it must be very ancient. And katham, how this yoga, etad vijaniyam, how to understand that tvam adav, that in the beginning you have said this proktavan iti. You have taught this yoga to Surya, the sun, how to understand this. Katham etad vijaniyam. So, very rudimentary confusion in the mind of Arjuna again. So, when he is saying of the birth of Krishna, so he is naturally speaking of the body. Naturally speaking of the body, that it has such and such a birth date, and sun is very old. So, how he can be in the beginning of the time, and how he could then teach the sun this Puratana yoga, this ancient yoga? This is the question raised by Arjuna. So, we see that this question shows us the state of mind of Arjuna. What Bhagwan is saying, how far he could absorb, we can understand. Bhagwan has said these beautiful verses of second chapter, Deha Dehi Viveka. Then he have said this Buddhi Yoga. Then he have told this Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Everything has been said. Then in the third chapter, all these verses, this third chapter has gone, but he still is missing the very central theme, the very central point of the teaching, very fundamental bedrock of his teachings, that is Atma Tattva, that Atman is Avinashi. This is something is missed, left out by Arjuna. Otherwise, how could this question be raised? How could he refer him as his Krishna's statement that I have taught this to son in the beginning of time? How could he say that you have born to a much later date? How could he say that? So Arjuna is totally missing the elephant in the room. The whole teaching of Krishna, which is based on that principle, he is missing that principle. So far, so it must be because of Arjuna's state of mind, which is very confounded, he is very convoluted. So that effect of those emotions is still there, overwhelming him. It is still to be eroded. He slowly getting himself collected, but still he is not. Those teachings are still to make its way into his heart. That is the situation of Arjuna. So Bhagwan again, like a very great and very good teacher, very good friend, he takes to make him understand again the same ideas, taking his question as an opportunity. So from here, the verse starts, the Bhagwan starts speaking in this fourth chapter. So what is he saying? Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava cha Arjuna tani aham veda sarvani natvam vetha parantapa. So bahuni means there had been many, innumerable. Bahuni me vyatitani, innumerable have passed. What? Janmani. Bahuni janmani me bahuni janmani. My innumerable lives, janmani, births had been there. Tavacha Arjuna, and also yours, not only me. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. There had been various births, number of births of mine, and so also yours. Tani aham, to all those births of his and as well as of Arjuna, aham Veda sarvani, I know all of them. Veda, I know them. Na tvam vetha parantapa. O parantapa, you do not know. You have forgotten them. But I have full memory of it. I have full remembrance of it. So, here in this chapter, we see that Bhagwan, first time, is expressing or saying about his extraordinary character, that he is not an ordinary person. He is just not his friend, a good strategist, a good counselor, a person who has a good knowledge of warfare or politics or whatever is going on in the world. He is not only successful leader of his people, not only that. Now he is explaining his yoga and rishi side. That he is not an ordinary person. He knows all his births. So he is not an ordinary person. Even by samadhi, it is said that before samadhi or through samadhi, you can know your previous births. But for ordinary people who through samadhi who obtain this, and for the person who claim to know all his births which happen to be before, so there is a difference. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that. Swamiji had said that. So there are people who, by the virtue of their tapasya, by the grace of Guru, by the grace of God, they become successful. They reach that state which is called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi, highest Samadhi. And they obtain immortality. They have first one-on-one experience of the truth, of that ultimate reality. They are one category. They are sadhana siddha, who become perfect through sadhana. But there are nitya mukta, Ishwar koti, Ishwar Avatara. These people are different. So they are extraordinary. They do not take birth by the compulsion of their prarabdha. Because prarabdha is there, that's why they have to take a body to expend the fruits of their karma, to spend the fruits of their karma, which is the case of most of us, all of us. Ishwar avatar does not take body that way. He is not compelled by his prarabdha. They are nitya mukta. They are ever free, never bound. The karmas of this world, whenever they take body and do actions, they does not take any impression on them. They are always free. That knowledge is never lost from them. And their all actions are for the good of others, to establish dharma and to show example of the veracity of the proof of dharma. That it is not just merely said in the books, or so many people said, or so many people have been saying for so long time, that it is real, it is true. They stand the proof of it. So these people are different. So he is making reference to that, that Tani Aham Veda Sarvani, those all births I know. Natvam Vetha Parantapa, O Parantapa, O the mighty Arjuna, you do not know them. So there is a difference. So first time Krishna is making him aware that who he is, who Krishna is, himself is, and where does Arjuna stand. So this is not an ordinary situation. So Arjuna is being made aware of. And then more clearly he says in the following verses. What does he say? Ajopi, Aja, which is Aja means which is not born, which is without birth, Aja. When Ja Pratyay is there, then it means that it is born of. Bhumija, which is born of Bhumi. Jalaja, which is born out of water. So Ajaha, which is not born of anything. So which is not born of anything, it cannot die. It is immortal, infinite. That it is referred to the principle, Atma Tattva, Satchidananda Brahma, Atman. That reality, that truth, it is referred to it. So Ajopi, Ajopi San, Avyaya Atma, that indivisible Atman, though I being. So in this verse, this I is silent. So though I being that principle, San, Ajopi San, Avyaya Atma, indivisible Atman. Bhutanam, this is one thing. So here he is saying that I am that principle. And then what he says in the second charana of this sixth shloka, Bhutanam Ishwaropi San, at one I am the principle, where there is no sense of embodiment. You cannot see it, he or she, nothing, no form. It is a principle. There is no concept of any embodiment there. Ajopi San Avyaya Atma. And then he says, Bhutanam Ishwaropi San. So also Api, Bhutanam, of all beings, I am the Ishwara. Ishwaropi San. Two things are said. That first is the same principle. And again, that same principle is the Bhutanam Ishwara. That Atman and this Ishwara, whom we worship in various forms, in Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Durga, Kali, Ramakrishna, the one principle. At one end principle, and in the second, when he has made Vyakta, Bhutanam Ishwaropi. Of all beings, he is the ruler, Bhutanam Ishwaraha. So he being this both two, at one the principle and then second the Ishwara. Jagat Parichalaka, Jagat Niyantraka, Ishvara. Then what does he say? Prakrutim swam adhishthaya. Swam, of my own Prakruti, adhishthaya, presiding over it, subjugating it, with the help of it. Help would not be a proper word. Subjugating, making use of it, adhishthaya. So Ishvara or even Atman in this case is said to be superior than Prakrutim Swam. It's my own Prakriti, adhishthaya. What does he say? Sambhavami, I take birth, Atma Mayaya, of my own Maya, due to the virtue of my own Maya, making my Maya as an instrument. It is in the third case, third vibhakti, Mayaya, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. So this is a great verse, a grand verse. So here we see Jnana and Bhakti Sayoga. Jnanis, which they worship, that Atma Tattva. In the second, he says that I am the same Ishvara, which is the Atman, same is the Ishvara. And it is the same Ishvara who takes birth through Atma Mayaya, making his Maya an instrument, Prakrutim, Swam Prakrutim Adhishthaya. I am not like others being subject of the Prakriti. I am not ruled by the Prakriti. I am the ruler of the Prakriti. Prakrutim Swam Adhishthaya. He is not Mayadhin like all of us. He is Mayadhish. So there is a different person in this world. There are people like you, me, and everybody else, and there is one different person who is Ajopi Avaya Atma, who is Bhutanam Ishvara, and who Atma Mayaya Swam Prakrutim Adhishthaya Sambhavami. So he is the second person, he is the different person, he is not the same person. So this verse of Bhagavad Gita is very clear and unambiguous. So Advaitavad, Vishishtadvaitavad and Dvaitavad, all three are being said here. And in all three, the Atman of the Advaitavadins, Ishvara of the Vishishtadvaitavadins, and Avatara of the Dvaitavadins, all exist. And Bhagwan says, Gita is saying, there should not be any confusion. Nobody has to stretch those words, try to prove his philosophical viewpoint. Bhagwan is saying this. This verse is as clear as daylight. There should not be any confusion. Though I am unborn of changeless nature and Lord of beings, it subjugating my Prakriti, I come into being by my own Maya. He does not come into being as others do, bound by karma, under the thraldom of Prakriti, nature. He is not tied by the fetters of the gunas because he is the Lord of Maya. This is very important. He is not controlled by gunas because he is not controlled by Prakriti, because he is Mayadhish. He is not the same person. He is not like anybody, like you and me. So he is a different person. He is altogether different person. And first time in the Gita, Bhagwan is making this statement. So which philosophy or is greatest? Advaitavad, Vishishtadvaitavad, or Dvaitavad? So earlier, this is what Sister Nivedita had said. Swami Vivekananda also had said. So if Sri Ramakrishna had said of what has been said in the Shrutis or earlier, is there a classic feature or something different what Sri Ramakrishna has taught? So this one point Swamiji points out, that earlier it was said that that karma, bhakti, they are like one leading to other successively, gradually, higher, step by step. It's a kind of a ladder. You start with action, then devotion, then yoga, and then you attain jnana. And whereas Advaitavad, Dvaitavad or Vishishta Dvaitavad, they are the perspective, they are the optional according to one's constitution of mind. But this is compulsory. One has to start from karma, then go proceed to bhakti, and then through yoga he will attain the jnana. And then he will attain the liberation. So there is no scope of option. But Sri Ramakrishna's teaching is starkly opposite to this. What Sri Ramakrishna and Swamiji is teaching, that karma, bhakti, yoga or jnana, they are optional. They are not compulsory. One can take one or two or all four as he like. But as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, he do not used to use this word much, vada. Instead of he used to use bhava, dvaita bhav, vishishta dvaita bhav or advaita bhav. Vishishta advaita or advaita. Just like that. Sri Ramakrishna's or Vivekananda's teaching is this, that this is not optional. Why this is not optional? Because it is not theory they are talking about. They are talking about the experience, the reality. Even if I am inclined to study Advaita Vedanta, how do I see as Atman? Do I see as a Dvaitin? Means that truth. Am I one with it? Absolutely. Then I have realized Advaita. Though I am perfectly Advaitin. But I can sense it, I can feel it kind of oneness, but still there is a difference. There is a distance. Then he is a Visishta Advaitin. He can feel, but still he has not realized. And as far as it is just subject of my knowledge, and I have not experienced, till then it is Dvaita only. The truth. However much ever we may talk about Advaita, have you realized? So far as you are Dvaitin, you are dualist only. The truth, have you realized any oneness with it? Have you become that? That's why Swami used this word. The being and becoming is religion. That Advaita which you are talking about, have you become that? If you have become that, then you have realized. Then you have known. Then you have attained the religion. So Ranganathan used to say that in this worldly knowledge, when we gain that knowledge, we have that knowledge, we are separate and we have that knowledge, we possess that knowledge. Knowledge of geography, history, or learning any musical instrument, etc. etc. Any skill or any information or any experience. You are not becoming one with it, you have that. I can play a very nice character, at the same time I can portray Rama on the stage, as well as I can be very evil man in my personal life. I have not become Rama, I portray Rama. I play the part of Rama very nicely and people are moved by it, people are inspired into devotion. But I just play a role. That is my skill. I have not become Rama. I do not become what I know. That is the difference. But where in the inner world, when you gain the spiritual knowledge, it invariably means, knowing means becoming. There is no, whatever we know without becoming it, it is substandard knowledge. Apara vidya, secondary knowledge. That knowledge is only as an instrument. You have not become that. So this religion, the core of it, the substance of it lies in becoming that. Practicing that, becoming that. Talking of Atman, becoming Atman. Talking of God, becoming God. That is religion. Praising, worshipping, anything means a lot of giving lecture on God. One side, this is just talk. But an ounce of practice, then this turn of talk. This ounce of practice to become that, to live that, to attain that oneness is the true religion. That is the essence of religion. In the inner world, there is becoming. So, Dvaita, Advaita Vada, so I might be talking about the Advaita Vedanta. Have I become that? How far? So that knowledge of the Atman is just a knowledge of information, and I am far away from it. So first it will be dualistic state. I will understand, I will assimilate, I will try to practice, I will be able to live, take my decision based upon it, practice it in my life. That Vedanta will become practical in my life. And finally, so slowly this process from dualist, totally dualistic state, slowly it will proceed through this qualified non-dualism to ultimate monism, that he will become one with that principle, and then he have attained the highest fruit of the dharma, of the religion. He have attained that. So Swamiji very clearly, Sri Ramakrishna very clearly, they were not biased to one particular view of the Vedanta, Advaita or Vishishtadvaita or Dvaita. Rather, Swami Vivekananda said that when we see Vedanta, when we say Vedanta, we have to take all these three into consideration. They only form the true Vedanta. And we see that if we see the scope of Hindu Dharma, you cannot only bank on Advaita and exclude Vishishtadvaita or Dvaita, or only have Dvaita and cast away Advaita. No. Our Hindu Dharma means Avatara, Puja, Purana, Ved, and everything it constitutes as a culture, as a race, as our history. We cannot cast away. So this is a more comprehensive view. It is very in tune with Bhagwan Sri Krishna is saying. He is talking about the principle, the Ishvara, Bhutanam Ishvara, and one who is born, the Avatara. So rather, instead of siding with one of the view that Advaita, Vishishtadvaita or Advaita, so this is a more comprehensive, more inclusive view what Bhagwan Sri Krishna himself is presenting, and we can remain true to it. So this is the 6th verse. In the 7th verse and 8th verse, he says most of you know these verses, you have heard these verses. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tada atmanam srujamyaham. So whenever a descendant of Bharata, he is called as Bharata. Bharata's descendant is Bharata. Whenever a descendant of Bharata, there is decline of dharma. Dharmasya glani bhavati. Glani bhavati. And adharmasya abhyutthanam bhavati. Adharma is rising. Then I embody myself. Tada atmanam srujamyaham. That he himself creates himself. Aham atmanam srujamyaham. Aham is the subject, atmanam is the object, karma, and srujamyaham, this is the kriya. So so this is the verse. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. He says that though he is not bound by karma, it has a purpose of his coming. That when this is the situation, when such situation rises, he creates himself. Atmanam srujamyaham. Srujami aham. So this natural order of the dharma and the principle upon which it is based, when that is lost with a long gap of time, Bhagavan has to come again to prove, to submit that proof to the world, to inspire this world, to set this world, to all its people into its order. He explains further, paritranaya sadhunam. Those who are of the good nature, who are not necessarily evil, to save them for their protection. Paritranaya, tranaya. So, one who as if sinking, to save him, to pull him out. Paritranaya, sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkrutam. The one who are engaged in doing evil, dushkrutam. Dushkarma, the one who are doing the dushkarma, they are the dushkrutam. For their destruction, they must be obliterated to establish dharma. This is the necessary evil. It is not possible. Dharma sansthapanarthaya, arthaya, for this purpose, the purpose of dharma samsthapana, sthapana, samsthapana, samyak sthapana, to firmly establish dharma again. Sambhavami, I born yuge yuge. From time to time, in different ages, I take birth again and again. Sambhavami yuge yuge. So this is the 8th verse. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So this is the purpose. This is his action. His the condition is when dharma is on decline, adharma is on rise, and this is the condition. And what does he do? He saves, he protects, he pulls out the sadhus, the necessarily good people, and to obliterate, to kill, vinashaya, to destroy the dushkrutam, one are the evil doers, and to establish dharma comprehensively. To this purpose, he is born from in every age, yuge yuge. The next verse says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma na eti mameti sorjuna. So he is saying, he who does, in this verse, if you see, the first hint of bhakti is given, that how through bhakti one can attain moksha, one can attain liberation, one can save himself if the path of jnana and path of karma is difficult. So how the path of bhakti can save him? So this is the necessary condition, that to know him, the one, the Avatara who has been born, to know his janma and karma, to his birth and his action as divya. They are not ordinary. So this faith will save him. Evam yo vetti tatvatah. Knowing tatvatah, he knows tattva, the fundamental principle based upon which Bhagwan is doing this leela, controlling his maya. So not to be know him as just born, like Krishna raised this, Arjuna raised the question that you are born just a few years back. So Arjuna is doing that gross mistake. And here, tatvatah, you have to know that he is ajopi avyayatma san, bhutanam ishwaropi san. He is that avyayatma, that principle. He is the Lord of the beings, bhutanam ishwaraha, and he is born. He is not the ordinary the person, like he has not taken birth like any ordinary person. So you must know this divyatva tatvatah. So this is the necessary condition. So having just emotional dependence, emotional connect to that person will not do good enough. Tatvatah, divyam and tatvatah, these two are the very essential condition. His janma karma, his divya janma, his divya karma, who can know its tatvatah, who understand its tatvatah. And this person means holding on to this idea. If he gives up his body, tyaktva deham, this person punarjanmana yeti. He is not born again. And what happens to him? So he comes to me, mameti. Sa mameti, Arjuna. So Arjuna, this is also one way, one who can find the way out of this complex, this phenomena, this confusion, this burden of this samsara. If one seeks that, one he knows that that person, his janma and his karma, his divya janma and divya karma, and knows it tatvata that he is avyayatma, ajah, and he is bhutanam, ishvara. Holding on to this idea, if you understand that and hold on to this idea and gives up his body with that feeling, with that faith that he will not born again, he will become free, he will attain to the knowledge, he will attain to him, mam eti saha. So this is the ninth verse. We will proceed further. These ideas of bhakti taken further from this verse onward in the next class. So next class, Sunday 25th, it will not be there because of Durga Puja, and the next Sunday after 25th, this class will be there as usual at 5:30 p.m. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.